Welcome back to the Crafter's Cauldron. In the last video, I showed you how to do the waistcoat stitch for amigurumi, and we started on our Kero-Chan head. In this video, we're going to make the ears and sew them on. Let's get started. Okay, so I've finished one ear. This dude's got massive ears, and I'll go through that with you. I tried to kind of elongate this bottom side with some extra increases and then really anchored it low on his head, and I've kind of set it quite far back. So we got the eyes, so this would be about the midpoint, but I've adjusted it back just because, I don't know, I feel like that's what his ears look like. In previous versions I've done much smaller ears, but I think that's quite cute. I also like from the side, because sometimes Kero from the side you can really see his big ears. So I wanted to make sure when you're looking at him from the side that he's got these huge, huge ears. But, so, to start on the ears, we are going to start again with a magic ring, and then chain 1, and then we will make 6 single crochets into this magic ring. Okay, that's really irritating. So we've got our 6 single crochets around, and then going in through that middle, those 2 vertical. 1, 2, and I'm just increasing all the way around. So we will end up with 12 stitches total. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So for something that's not going to be stuffed, I will try to anchor this tail in one of the early rounds and then cut it so that I don't have to weave it in at the end or deal with it while I'm sewing. So in this next round, we're going to increase and then work 1 waistcoat stitch. So that is, will end up being 6 repeats of 3 stitches, the same as our base or our head. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then once I've kind of anchored that pretty securely, I'm just going to cut that tail, and now I have nothing to weave in. You can see it's a little loose and bumpy, but that's fine. If you pull this, you'll kind of tighten the whole thing. So you have to make sure that your center is really secure before you go doing anything with the tail. So this is our final repeat of an increase and 1 waistcoat. And then now, since we're wanting this to be a very circular ear, I'm going to do a row of just regular waistcoat stitches all the way around. 3, 4, I don't know where that came from. 5, 3, 5, 4, 4, 6. Oh no. I can't count. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, is that how you say 13? 14, 15, 16, 17, and that is 18. So that helps kind of already start making that shape. So as you can see on the head, where we didn't add in that extra round of single crochets, it's very flat. So now we're going to do the next row, which will get us up to 24. So we'll do an increase, 3, 4, and we'll repeat those 4 stitches 6 times around. Increase, 7, 8, increase, 11, 12, increase, 17, no, 15, 16. That's how quickly I lose count. Increase, 19, 20. Increase, whoop. Increase, 23, 24. So now I've reached kind of the width that I want for the ear, but instead of just doing single crochets down, what I'm going to do is start each round with an increase. So I will increase 1, waistcoat stitch around, and repeat that for the next rounds. This kind of just elongates one side of the ear just a tiny bit, just to make that shaping easier that I want, where his ear is kind of pinned further down on his head than the top. So the top is much more rounded, and then it kind of gradually comes to the head a little bit more. So instead of counting, because I cannot count, I am just working around since, whatever. I don't know. I should be counting. So we are just working around. Another way to find your beginning of the round is sometimes you can kind of tell where that first increase round started. So on this piece, it is right here. But it's not always clear, and I've definitely thought that I had the start of the round right, and then absolutely just lost the plot and gotten totally lost. So that is the start of my round. So I will increase again, and then waistcoat stitch all the way around. And then I will carry on until we are done with the ear, and I'll come back to that. Okay, so I've finished round 9 and come back to my beginning of round, which has these increases. And then I am just going to slip stitch through the loops across. We ended with 28 stitches, so we went from the increase rounds ending in 24, and then we did 25, 26, 27, 28. So we will end with just 1 stitch left at the end with an odd number. So you can see it's developing this kind of, not quite a teardrop shape, but because of those 4 increases, we're elongated on this edge. You technically don't have to slip stitch across, and I'm not a huge fan of how it looks on the back, but I find that for sewing, it does help. You've got a really nice base there. So at the end, I'll just chain one to kind of secure it, and then I'm going to cut myself a fairly long tail. And again, I will thread this onto a needle. I really find that having a good sharp needle helps a lot. Wait, nope. Okay, pull the tail through first. I was so proud of myself for getting this on the needle the first time. Okay. So I'm gonna thread that maybe onto the needle, so close. Okay. So I bet, so we've got our 2 ears here, and I feel like there's probably a way that you could pin this on and not suffer so much trying to get this thing attached. So what we've got here is 2 rows of increases directly across from each other, which line up pretty well with being the halfway point. So I'm going to start this 1, 2, 3 in the 4th round. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And right behind that increase there. I don't know, I've never been good at pinning things on 3D shapes, so I just kind of wing it. Isn't that helpful? Don't you love it? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then in the 4th stitch. So 1, 2, 3 in the 4th stitch. Back from there. So I'm gonna kind of just start myself there. And then as I work, I'm just going to kind of shape and move. So these 2 increases, I come really close. So I'm gonna kind of work myself back that way. So I'm kind of, instead of going straight, I'm bringing the ear back a little bit around the shape of the head. I know this is probably not particularly helpful to watch. The secret is, don't be afraid to undo it. I've taken off more arms and legs than I can count of like, oh no, what have I done? Why does that look terrible? So we've got kind of, I think that's a pretty good symmetrical top. And then I'm coming into this set of decreases. So I'll come kind of close to into this set of decreases, maybe right around there. Helps when you stretch the ear out a bunch and it just does whatever you want it to. Okay, so that slip stitch round really gives you a good base to sew into, which is quite nice. You can also, if you want, instead of using the tail to stitch it on, it's a little more time consuming, but sometimes if you take a different yarn and kind of tack it in place so that you can really get that positioning where you want it, that can also be very helpful. So we are just going to finish this up. And sometimes it helps to keep the stitches quite loose and then tighten it down just so that you can see what it is you're doing. And then I'll do a couple extra stitches at the end just to really anchor that ear down. So there we've got our 2 ears. And then instead of tying a knot here, I'm going to feed the needle down into the base, pull that tight, and then tie my knot up here. And then again, to hide this, just kind of stick it, pull it kind of tight, and trim it. So the back of his head, you can kind of see the slip stitches right there, which I don't know. I kind of like the definition, but I also kind of don't. And then from the side, we've got some good big ears, and then just massive ears. Massive. But I'm really liking how that's looking from the side, where you can see easily his second ear. It's not so small, but yeah. So that's the ears on our Kero-Chan. And up next, I think we're going to start working down the body, and then still have to do the wings, which are always fun, especially those little swirls, getting the swirls to show up. But yeah, I will see you in the next one, and hopefully we'll get him some body parts. Also the tail. The tail's real fun. I cord. I hate it. Okay. Bye-bye, Kero.